I think practice swings are used the wrong way. So I'll say to someone, what's your routine? What's your practice swing? And then they say, I just do a couple of practice swings. I say, well, why'd you do them? Just because everyone else does it. I was like, okay, that's not really there's no purpose to that practice swing. So you're either doing a practice swing like a Justin Rose to feel a drill or a feel, or you're doing a practice swing to kind of loosen up, one of the two, and feel them. So if you play with me, you'll sometimes see, I need to get that game organized, yeah. We'll sometimes see that I'll just do like a little half swing, like a little sort of swoosh thing, because all I'm feeling is, right, still a drill in a way. I'm trying to feel the ground and feel where the bottom of the arc is, especially with an iron. Like on a par 3, I'll always do that. I won't do a full swing unless it's like windy and I'm trying to feel like a little shot into the wind. But if it's no wind and it's quite calm, I'll just do a little swish to feel the bottom of the grass, find my ball position.
So welcome back to another episode of the Halfway Hut podcast. It's just myself hosting this week. Mark is in Scotland, sunny Scotland, but I am not actually alone. I've got coaching extraordinaire Michael Kanev with me. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, appreciate that. That was quite a title for me there.
I listened to you on Mark Immelman's podcast, and everything you were saying I was absolutely loving, so we definitely had to get you on here 100%.
Thank you.
So, one thing I noticed is your coaching philosophy feels very grounded, very simple, and practically it's sound. How did you develop that style, and why do you think it's effective for golfers of all levels?
Great question. I've been coaching for over 10 years now, and I still remember people, my initial lessons saying, oh, I love the fact you're only giving me one or two things to focus on. You know, I've had lessons before where the coach has told me 6 different things and I have no idea which one to think about, and also, which way to go. Now, obviously, some coaches are more technically like that, but generally, I think it works better for the person to have one thing to think about. It's so easy to throw everything at them, show them what you know, and especially as an assistant, when I was starting, I had to almost like hold back from saying things and say, right, okay, he needs to work on, let's say his backswing, but first of all, we need to work on his grip, because if he doesn't fix his grip, he's not going to fix his backswing anyway. So we can't kind of fix both. So like I've done lessons where I'm just focusing on the grip and that's it, because once you focus on the grip, for example, the grip's hard enough because it actually changes your feel in the backswing, but, and in the follow through, of course. But I think having heard so many people say that to me and saying, I like the fact that you're keeping it simple, made me think, okay, I'm just going to keep going down this way and I'm going to simplify it even further. Just really kind of have 1 or 2 thoughts max per lesson and go, right, okay, but you have to go and practice these things now. You can't just come back after a week and say, let's get another one, because you've not had time to actually implement these things. But yeah, I think simplicity in coaching is really important, and people love that, that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of misconceptions with some things that coaches give students to work on. Maybe it's with the classic, oh, you lifted your head too early, and sometimes low handicappers, I know I'm guilty of it, of saying, oh, I can see what you did there. Maybe you just need to tweak this thing. So what are some of the misconceptions that people think about?
That's a great question, Maya. That's a really good question, right? So we've all got our friends at heart, including myself when I was playing as well. I never used to hit driver when I first started. I only used to hit 3-wood because I never got lessons, which was my kind of fault. I didn't know about that. I just read magazines and did it that way back in the day. But shows you how old I am now. No, but it was before YouTube. I couldn't get taught on YouTube, so I had to read magazines and watch the Golf Channel. But yeah, so misconceptions, absolutely. The lifting your head is probably, I would say 99% of coaches don't like that. And, because you need to lift your head. We need to turn your head, because your head, right? I always say it's such a simple thing. Your head is connected to your neck, connected to your body, right? It's not a separate thing. So if your body moves, your head has to move.
Yeah.
So if you don't lift your head, what's going to happen is, or don't turn your head, sorry, not lift your head. If you don't turn your head, your body's not going to turn because you're trying to stay down looking at the ball and you're just turning and, you're not able to fully rotate. So imagine your spine is then linked to your neck, then linked to your head. If your spine turns and rotates through, you need to turn your head and your neck as well. So great example is some of the players that do this are like David Duval, Henrik Stenson, Annika Sorenstam. If you watch slow motion videos of them, anybody, just go and search on that after the podcast. But you'll see how they literally turn their head with the shot. They're actually, one or two of them don't even look at the ball. So they don't even look at the ball. They're actually hitting the ball without looking at it, which is crazy. Wouldn't recommend that.
Oh, actually, it's
But
funny you say that because I actually noticed that about my own swing. I do this weird thing, and I didn't really notice I did it until someone pointed out to me with my backswing. I watch the club for the
mm,
first like foot, and then my head goes back and my arms keep going.
yeah.
And then when they come through, I kind of follow the club through. I don't follow the ball. I'll kind of just follow the club. So
Do you
it's
feel like
kind
it's
of
affecting your strikes, or are you quite a person that kind of hits the behind the ball, or are you not too bad with? You're
I'm
pretty
normally
safe.
I thin it, to be honest, is my biggest
Yeah.
issues. So I try, but I tend to stand up a bit too quickly, and
So
so I
that's
try.
lifting your head this way, yeah, up, as in
Yeah, so
leaning
it's kind
leaning
of
back, yeah. So that's
yeah.
different, yeah.
So it's that's something I do see a lot with people I play golf with is they stand up a bit too much. So
Mm.
maybe or what kind of drills would help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen people. I've seen a person. I still remember a guy in London that really looked at his. He really looked at his backswing. It was weird because he probably used to do drills to work on his backswing, and then he continued. But it was great because he was such a good player. Um, but yeah, drills for basically keeping your posture. You mean like not
Yeah,
standing
so
up, not standing up. So one of my favorite ones is the drag drill. So
mm,
as you know, I've got loads of drills on my social media, but um, this is one of my favorite ones. Like if I had to put a top 10, this is in my top 10. Um, is drag drills. So basically, you start at impact, holding the club as if you're pretending you've impacted the ball. There's no ball, but you pretend as if you've preset your legs, preset your movement. You're starting to crunch into the ground, and then all you do is just drag the club as long as you can with your connection. You're not going to just drag it with like your wrists, but you keep turning your body as well until the club eventually comes off the ground naturally, right? So you just it teaches you to turn chest, but also stay over the ball with your shoulders as well. So the drag drill is great. Dragging the follow through. You don't even do a backswing, right? So you don't even do a backswing. You just start at impact and you just turn with it. Obviously, one of the drills that I mentioned in Mark's podcast is club across the shoulders, which is brilliant as well. So people should definitely try that one, getting the club across your shoulders and learning to get the butt end of the club or the head of the club, whichever side you're using, to point at the golf ball at impact. And then again, it will teach you how you have to actually almost be tilted when you're turning. So you're never standing up until the ball's gone.
yeah, yeah. Is that similar to what Justin Rose does, or like an Alex Noren
That's a
exaggerated?
brilliant, yeah, yeah. You've nailed it. You've actually got it right on the head. It's absolutely exactly what they do because Justin Rose's issue is kind of I've noticed on his bad shots, that he's hitting it way over to the right, and that generally comes from standing up, getting the right shoulder high, and losing your posture. No, Justin Rose is a great ball striker, but he's always working on staying over the ball, exiting left. Exiting left meaning his arms go left of the target. So imagine there's a straight line from you to the flag, and sorry, from the ball to the flag. Your arms will go left of that, and around your body. So that's what he's working on. Same with Alex Noren. Alex Noren's more about not, I guess, flipping the club and
Yeah,
hooking the ball. So he wants to cover the ball with his chest and rotate, and then hold the back of the left hand. So he hits the nice little fade all day long. So it's a great way to play golf, holding it off. But certainly that's what Justin Rose does. So he effectively does that drag drill. When you watch him do his practice swings, he'll do a version of that on the follow through.
yeah, yeah. I know I've tried that because it's as I said before, it's a issue of mine standing up. So I'm trying to keep that almost level with my chest. So I'm turning and trying to make sure that I'm not going up, or just exaggerating, pushing it down, where I'll start just going into the ground and the ball's
Yeah.
just not going to go anywhere.
And
But
try it. And then you can hit some punch shots to add to that after you've done that for a
okay,
wee while. Do little punch shots, but feeling like your arms, you put an alignment stick in front of your ball, a few inches obviously so you don't hit it, but right in front of your ball, and feel like your arms and your hands are going left of that alignment stick.
yeah,
And that's a massive, that'll be great for your game, but also for anybody that feels like they stand up. A little bit like if you thin the ball, you're more than likely leaning back. So
yeah,
this will stop you leaning back. This will get you going low through the ball and left, low and left, and almost try and get the ball starting left of the alignment stick. So try and hit it left. If it goes left, that's okay. Like we can work on that club face, but it's just getting the feeling of swinging left.
yeah, yeah. Love that. Absolutely love that. And you mentioned a couple. Well, we both mentioned a few tour pros, and you use a lot of tour pros like Tiger Woods, Gary Player, Nick Taylor as their visual references. So, what specifically about their swings do you find most instructive for students?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, Gary Player, I've had the real fortunate. I was really fortunate to meet him in 2008, I think it was, in Bulgaria, where I'm from. So he was helping redesign a golf course, and I was kind of junior champion, and they sort of went, "Oh, we'd love you to meet our junior champion." So he basically had a conversation with just me and him. It was amazing. Like he said, I want to speak to Michael just on his own, and so he's telling me things about like staying strong and working on the exercises he always does. But he also mentioned things like short game as well are so important for young people to practice. But he did a clinic afterwards, and one of his most famous drills is to walk after the ball, right? So you take a step. I don't know if you've ever tried it. Take a
Yeah,
like one step after the shot. It's so cool because it helps you to transfer your weight properly. It teaches you to transfer your weight properly, especially for pitching. I would say it's amazing, and then you can take it into your long game as well.
yeah, yeah. That drill actually, fun enough, and another one that you really, you what's the word? You really hit home with me with.
Yeah.
It's the upside down drill. Those two drills are the first two drills I actually did when I first started playing golf.
Mm,
And the upside down drill is absolutely brilliant. So maybe you could
yeah.
just tell us a bit more about those.
Yeah, the upside down drill. So we've talked about the step drill, but the upside down drill is literally turning the club upside down, holding it by the head or the neck, and swinging the grip. So it teaches you speed at the right point because you're trying to get like a whoosh sound after the golf ball. You just swing over the golf ball. You're not actually hitting the golf ball with this, by the way. Don't try and break your grip.
It's
So you
not
don't.
easy.
No, you don't need to hit a ball. So just whoosh it after. I actually did this the other day with our club captain, so he really liked it because he had the tendency of coming inside the ball a little bit too much, so releasing it early. So we got him to go through, and he's really said it's helped straight away. So great job to do. You can do it in your back garden as well. Don't need the ball. Just get in the back garden. There's no excuses. That's what I like to say. So most of my drills, there's no excuses for not doing them because you can just do like the drag drill. You can do in your living room, the drag drill. Just
Yeah,
take your 7-iron out, take your wedge out, drag it a little bit on the carpet. You're not going to damage anything, right? Your wife or partner might say, what you do? But you can watch the golf and just do that, right?
yeah,
So same with the upside down drill. You can do it to warm up as well in the nets, or if you don't have any nets, it's a great way, especially if you don't have any nets, because if people don't have nets or anywhere to warm up, how do we warm up? And I got asked that the other day by a client actually. Can you send me a warm up routine, which is pretty cool. So that's one of the things I would recommend doing is upside down and just get that sound after your left leg. So making sure you hear that.
yeah. It's so important to, you mentioned there, warming up before a round. I know the amount of times I've just got out of the car, straight to the first tee, and it's taken me a few holes to kind of find my groove. And then I'm like, why did I play bad? Well, I know
Mm,
why I played bad, because I didn't do a proper warm up. I didn't stretch. Also, I didn't find what shot was I was playing that day. I don't have a clue. So if I'm more hitting a fade that day, that's the shot I've got to play.
yeah.
So it's finding those things out before you go out and play. But a couple more drills that I'd love is the two club drill. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about that as well.
So this is this the one that I talked with Mark about, or two club drill? Because there's also a variation of the warming up, which is I'm going to add it in as a little extra drill for everybody because it's a great one, and it's you've probably tried it before, some of you, but you can literally hold two clubs together, grips together, and just swing because it's a really weighted club. Now you can obviously buy weighted clubs now as well.
Yeah.
They're very popular, but if you don't want to buy weighted clubs and you're thinking I don't have space in my bag, just put two clubs together, hold them. It's quite tricky initially. You got to but just swing the two irons together, and it really warms you up. Like I always do that drill, especially in the winter. Just hold two clubs, swing normal speed or a little bit slow, then speed it up, and amazing how much it actually physically warms you up. So that's a great drill, warm up routine. But yeah, two club drill is one club in each hand, probably again two irons, two wedges maybe, and you literally swing back at the same time. So you're probably going to get yourself crossed over, cross wires at some point, but that's good because you can learn that, right? And you can use a mirror at home or use a mirror at the range or get your mate to video you, is check that they're all matching, right? So over time, you're going to get good sequencing by matching, but also on the way down, you're going to learn how it's all about more rotation rather than flipping with the hands. Because if you flip one, the one's going to go the other way. So you've got to turn with basically pull with your left hip. And then that's what we're all talking about as coaches, is generally start with the left hip. People always say, what does that mean? Then they try and slide into the ball. So you've got to turn with the left hip. So then it keeps it in front of you. So from one of my biggest theories almost is keeping the club in front of you. Like, it's so important to keep this club in front of your chest because it starts in front of your chest. So I want to bring it back in front of your chest. So as you come down, we should be turning with the club and not spinning too quick or throwing the hands too quick.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, when you're coaching a new student, is that something that you see quite often, or what's the first thing possibly you tend to focus on when teaching? Is it mechanics, feel, mindset possibly, or is it something else?
Generally, most people will mention the word consistency, which is like, what does that even mean? I want to be more consistent. I'm like, okay, so do I. So, so do you. Everybody does, right? But consistency comes from repeating the same thing again and again. So I'm a big believer in using what the player already has and using their positive. So I always start with the positive. I always say, by the way, just to let you know, there is a positive, right? I'm going to start with the positive. So whether it's their grip or their setup or their takeaway, and I'll say, okay, your takeaway is great, but then it goes wrong, right? But I'll say your takeaway is brilliant. Keep doing that. But then the next bit, or your weight transfer is great, but we're just not setting up in the right way. So big thing for me is making sure fundamentals are perfect, and not perfect, but as good as they can be. Don't like the word perfect because it's a bit too much pressure to be perfect, right? So I think as good as it can be, checkpoints, things like the grip, you make sure you have checkpoints, and then stance, obviously, ball position, shoulders are really important as well. I find that loads of people set up wrong with their shoulders, whether it's open or closed or tilted or under tilted going the other way. So yeah, checkpoints are great. Biggest checkpoint for me with the grip, such a simple one, this is something people listening to this can take this away, is right-handed golfers obviously do the opposite. For left-handed, right-handed golfers, your left hand, you want to see two knuckles. So your forefinger or middle finger knuckle, you should see those two knuckles as you set it over to the ball. And then your right hand, just the forefinger one at first finger. And that means that the hands are working together, really just working together, not independent. So you're not going to hands crossing in either way. They're actually working. The palms are working together, so the palms can rotate together, and that's very, very important.
Something on the grip actually is the first time I've ever used it is one of those grip training aids, and
Yeah.
I mean, see, Scotty Scheffler uses one every single tournament. Before each round, he's using one of those. How important is, and how, it's kind of a two-part here. So how important is a training aid, but also how important is it to use a training aid correctly?
Great question. Yeah. So training aids, I don't know if you've ever watched the film Tin Cup.
Yeah.
There's one scene when he's got like all these training aids on, and he's just like in his trailer, and he's got all these different things like a hat and a ball hanging off around his, and then he's got the wristband around his hands, and so that's a really funny scene. It's kind of saying that generally people will just buy all the training aids they can on Amazon or whatever, and then they'll just wear them and try them and almost try them at the same time, right? But you best speaking to your coach, asking them what feel they want you to do, and then if there's a training aid that might help you. But certainly the grip trainer that Scotty Scheffler uses, slightly weighted club. Again, it's brilliant for warming up because it's weighted, right? It's quite heavy. So you can just have it in the side pocket of your bag or in the boot of your car and just swing a few behind the back of your car before you get your clubs out, and put it back in the car if you want. But it's the grip trainer thing is I think there's one from David Ledbetter as well. He made one. All sorts of coaches have made them. The grip is so important, but the molded grip is, again, I've been playing golf since the early 2000s, and there was a grip trainer back then, so it's quite an old training aid. But it's stayed the same. It's not even changed. It's exactly the same as it was 25 years ago when I started. I still remember I bought it in a shop, and that's how I learned to hold the club. So definitely that's one of the best ones. And if Scotty's using it, then it must be good.
Exactly. You can't argue with that, can you? He's playing
I'm
even.
gonna
Go
I'm
on.
gonna add in one that I really like is the TRS slider. I've done really well with selling that to my customers, and it's a great company to work with as well. But it's such a simple thing. If you've not seen it, you can go on the
No, I haven't
trsgolf.com.
seen that one. No.
Have you not? Okay, I'm gonna have to send you that link. But it's such a great thing. It's got videos and explanations. But basically, loads of the pros are using it. Designed by Robert Rock,
Oh,
who's a
yeah.
great ball striker, and he basically molded it on his own swing because his swing's just like perfection. Even the other pros say that. So I have got a link that you guys can use to get 10% off. So I'll send you that link. It's been
Yeah.
really, really popular with you'll see it on my stories and Instagram and stuff. But what it does is it teaches you it's funny enough, it's the right arm we focus on, not the left arm. People talk about the chicken wing, but it's actually the right arm we're going to focus on because we need that connection with the right arm. So that's another great drill. And then the TRS do a ball in between your forearms. I don't know if you've seen that, variations of that. Again, Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood use those. So they're all about keeping connection with the body, forearms. So I love using the ball, especially for beginners who need to learn about club face rotation.
Yeah. I've tried the ball one. It felt very odd doing it, but then when I took it away and started hitting balls, I immediately felt the difference. And I
Yes.
thought, oh, I can see how it's helped because I wasn't particularly hitting it great with the ball, but it was the after effect of it was game changing. But
Yeah.
like, I borrowed it off someone, so I had to give it back to him. So I was a bit gutted. I need to buy one for myself, really.
Glad to hear that you liked it. Yeah, you're right. It's more about creating a feel. Again, you don't need to use a golf ball necessarily, but
No,
trying a ball with that, you can try that on the slider as well. I think you can buy the molded grip, and actually put it on a 7-iron like Scotty Scheffler does as well. You can
yeah,
buy it separate, but generally the molded grip comes on a weighted club. But certainly you can, especially for learning, if you've got spares or an old 7-iron, definitely just hit balls with that grip trainer. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And another thing that's helped me as well, and I know it's helped others. Mark, who's also on the podcast, he struggled with this with jumbo max grips. Now, for me, it's completely changed my game. It dropped my handicap by about 4 shots.
Okay.
I mean, it did help having new clubs at the same time, but the difference having the bigger grips, even when I hit one of my friend's grips, it it feels I hit them okay, but nowhere near as good as I'll hit mine. But I also changed the grip on my driver, my woods to the same grip, and that immediately made me hit it a lot straighter. So I wonder what your thoughts were on not just the bigger grips, but also getting fitted for a grip.
Great. Yeah, very good point. That's something that's really underlooked, for sure. You could actually go the other way. You can go people that need smaller grips, right? So they might have smaller hands, or they might just want to have that different feel in the club. But going with a thicker grip is probably the more popular one. And so I've gone from standard to mid-size quite a few years ago, and it massively helped my iron game because I used to not hit as many greens as I should, and now I'm burning a lot of par threes. I've noticed, so I'm always hitting good iron shots. Like I get so many twos, it's weird, um, because I'm hitting that one good iron shot. So,
Yeah.
and it's also helped my driving accuracy, like yourself as well. So, yeah, again, you can get fitted by a good pro should be able to fit you with that. There's also diagrams in certain pro shops with Golf Pride and certain ways of checking. Very simple way for you to check at home is, why not just talk about it now, is if your fingers dig into your skin and they're kind of slightly pinching your skin as you grip a club, then it's too small. If you've got a big gap, that way, if you've got a big gap and you're not able to touch the pad of your hand and it's too big, you should be just gently, either slightly landing on the top or just
Yeah.
gently touching it. But that's a good way to check yourself, just with your left hand. And yeah, it made a massive difference to my game, so people should definitely get measured for grips. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So just shifting to differently to practice. Now we talk about like effective things to help you with your
Mm.
drills and everything like that. But being effective with your practice is so important. So what would a good, if you say you've got an hour after work and you need to go and practice, what do you think a good effective practice would look like?
Yeah, it's a good point. People sort of struggle to structure their practice a little bit. Um, I think ideally you want to spend time working on all parts of your game, but obviously depending on the weather, if it's raining and whatever, you might just want to be in a covered bay, not out in the short game area. But ideally, you want to do both. I mean, before a tournament, I would always turn up about an hour and a half before anyway, and probably the way I would. So basically, probably easier if I just say the way I start. So the way I would do it is an hour and a half before. I would try and warm up for probably 40 minutes or so, 45. I would start with stretching. Talked about certain warm up exercises we can do. We can do all those weighted clubs, um, upside down drill, and in general stretching. So like touching your toes, rotation, arm circles. Very very simple things, but things that we need to warm up the body with. Then you would, yeah, probably start with kind of shorter pitch shots and just work your way to feel the ground, feel the grass on the range if you can, or in the net. And then I would kind of jump from that. You don't have to do every club in your bag. That's one thing that, that people struggle with is you don't have to do every club in your bag, but also you don't always have to hit driver as well. So one thing that I do is I hit a lot of 8-irons in my warm-up because 8-irons can be quite a scoring club. Anything less than that's fine as well, 9-iron pitching wedge, but anything round about that because you want to get your scoring in. And to be honest, I'll probably do that for I'll probably do wedges for about 10, 15 minutes, probably 10 minutes. And then I'll probably do 8-iron for a good 15 minutes. And the last sort of 10 minutes, let's call it 35 minutes overall, would be driver. Just a few, but what I do with the driver is I actually try and play the first hole. If it is a driver, whatever hole I'm playing, I'll hit that club in the net or in the practice area to finish my practice session. So
Yeah.
whether it's a 3-wood, 5-wood driver, 5-iron if it's a par 5, a par 3, or a short par 4, you're hitting an iron off the tee. Just hit that club and actually imagine the fairway you're about to hit. Visualize it and go, right, can I hit this fairway? And once you've done it once, maybe twice, just stop. That's it. Don't even do it again because you've got the visual now. And then I would just go and do a few putts to focus on long putts. Distance control. So hitting a ball to a tee, putting that tee down, and then putting to that back to that tee again. So I'm not using an actual hole because if it doesn't go in, you're not kind of worried about the outcome. You just want to get it as close to the tee as you can from about 25 feet or so, and then you practice some short putts to, like really short putts. Like I would practice. I remember Nick Faldo when he won the Open said, I love watching these old Open kind of chronicles and stuff where they talk about their experience. He would practice like 10-inch putts, 8-inch putts, and I was like, why you practice such a short putt? And then he'd say, well, why would I want to practice a 6-foot putt? I'm probably gonna miss 60%, 40% of them. I want to see the ball going in, so I will literally practice like maybe a 1-foot putt just before I tee off, seeing that ball going in the hole, getting that confidence up.
Yeah.
And that's it. But certainly the one where you visualize your opening hole on your golf course is a great one. It really sets you up to hit a good tee shot.
Yeah, having that visual before you go out I know I've tried that and it's helped me on that first tee to say, well, I've already hit this shot, so I know what to do. Now I just need to execute. And it's so important. But also before with our structured practice and before we go out on the round, What about a pre-shot routine? How important is a pre-shot routine?
Well, one thing just to touch on your previous point about hitting the visuals of the is again, if you've got a slight kind of bias, if you're slightly hitting off the heel, slightly fadey, you go, right, actually, I didn't really hit those great. They still hit the fairway, but I might just aim a little bit different on that first hole based on those shots. So pre-shot routine is massive. More of a mental zone where you almost get yourself into a little box, little bubble of your own. So I think a trigger point's probably the key, where you go, right, okay, is it when I take my head cover off my driver? That's me in the zone of, I'm not going to like get distracted now. Or is it when I Velcro my glove on, if you wear a glove? Obviously, if you don't wear a glove, right, is it when I put my ball on my tee? That's me in the zone. I'll do my practice swings now. So you've got to have variations based on obviously what equipment you use. And then some people don't even do a practice swing, which is fine. You don't have to do a practice swing. I think practice swings are used the wrong way. So I'll say to someone, what's your routine? What's your practice swing? And then they say, oh, I just do a couple of practice swings. I say, well, why'd you do them? Just because everyone else does it. I was like, okay, that's not really there's no purpose to that practice swing. So you're either doing a practice swing like a Justin Rose to feel a drill or a feel, or you're doing a practice swing to kind of loosen up, one of the two. And feel them. So if you play with me, you'll sometimes see. I need to get that game organized. Yeah, if we'll sometimes see that I'll just do like a little half swing, like a little sort of swoosh thing, because all I'm feeling is right, still a drill in a way. I'm trying to feel the ground and feel where the bottom of the arc is, especially with an iron. Like on a par three, I'll always do that. I won't do a full swing unless it's like windy and I'm trying to feel like a little shot into the wind. But if it's no wind and it's quite calm, I'll just do a little swish to feel the bottom of the grass, find my ball position, and then hit the ball from there. But yeah, visualization, lining up's massive. The amount of people that teaching people on the course, people don't line up correctly. So on course lessons, it's probably close to 80-90% of people don't line up correctly. So very simple one of picking a small target right in front of your ball where you want to go and aiming at that target. Forget the big target in the distance. Pick a little leaf or whatever. You're not allowed to obviously put stuff down in your line of play. Can't put artificial aids or a tee or anything, but use something. And if there's nothing there, if it's a really clean tee, you can just use the line on the tee box or of the grass or whatever. But you'll always find something, and put the club face down first. So that's massive. Don't use your feet. People use their feet to line up. I'm sure you've probably seen that. People putting their club across their thighs and, oh, I lined up my feet correctly, and then they'll put their club down.
Yeah.
So using your club face down first. So all these little things in a step-by-step routine would be good.
Yeah, yeah. I love that one where they're finding something in front of you to aim at. That's something I do, and I've said that to other people, and they've tried it, and it's improved their game. It's picking something in the distance and bringing it down to where you are, and then that's your aim point. Don't worry about that big target. It's, as you said, it's all about the small target right in front of you, and then line them with your club face. That's so important. That's something I'm very guilty of just putting my feet down and then I'll just pop the club there. But doing the club first, yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to try.
Try that. Put your club face down first, take your grip, and then just take your stance parallel to your club face. So it's really easy to try and use your feet to line up. But, when people try to use their feet to line up, they're generally aiming too far to the right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what's a lesson or an insight that took you the longest time personally to learn as a teacher, possibly?
As a teacher, lesson or insight.
I've
Well,
taken
I
a bit of
mentioned earlier.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've taken a bit of a left turn here, sorry.
I know that's got me off guard. No, I mentioned earlier about the one about not speaking too much. I think that's a massive one for me, and not almost listening more than you speak, because it's easy to try and just talk your way through the lesson. Also, one big one that I've started doing recently is just thought of. I won't comment after every single shot. I don't see the point. First of all, if a person's struggling and they're getting used to something new and they're sort of duffing the ball initially, if they're probably most likely with a new grip, they'll probably hit quite a few bad ones. More of strike because they're not used to that location. Or ball position. If you change ball position, people are generally either thinner or hit it fat because they're used to a different bottom
Yeah.
of the arc. I don't comment on every single shot. So if you slightly duff one, I'll say, oh, it's okay, don't worry about that. Well, let's try another one. That's all I'll say. I won't say, oh, you did this wrong, and you did this wrong, and you analyze every single thing, because then they get analytical and they go, oh, why? Sometimes they'll ask me, why did I hit that one wrong? Like straight after the first shot after a change, they'll hit a bad one. And they'll say, why did I hit that one wrong? And I'll say, not in a bad, not like that, but I'll say, oh, why have I hit that one wrong? And I'll say, it's okay, just try it again. Just give it another go and try it again. But I feel like people are very, very analytical with they're in their head too much.
Yeah.
So I try and get them out of their head and focus on the feel they're trying to create, not the outcome as such. So, it's not always about, one drill that I do is get people to hold their finish and just count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now that teaches you to stay balanced. And again, it teaches you sequence of, right, in order to stay balanced, I need to move something different. Now I said to them, right, hold your finish. Even if you hit a bad one, just hold your finish. And the more they do that, the better they get at it. So that's one thing I've learned is definitely don't try and analyze every single shot. And I learned that more probably from kids, because, kids are sort of told what they do wrong sometimes too much in some cases. And that's been something that's been big in teaching now in schools, is to make sure that you just let them make mistakes almost, whether they're writing something or one new word, and then learn from it. So same with the golf swing. You've got to let the person experience the new feeling without you saying anything, because they're thinking about, this feels weird, this feels weird, oh, that feels better, that feels better, now I get it. Let them experience that.
Yeah, yeah. I went through a grip change a couple of years ago. I've kept the same grip since, but that first week of trying to hit it felt absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
But the results were good. So I'm like, I need to stick with this. And it's that getting that mindset to try and
Yeah.
stick with it and say, no, the coach knows what he's talking about. Clearly the results are working. It
Yeah.
just feels weird. That's all.
Yeah. Definitely. 100%. Agree with that.
Definitely. But possibly, who in golf instruction has influenced you the most to change, or to the way you teach? Who's given you that influence on it?
I think there's a couple of people. Probably the biggest person for me personally was Dennis Pugh. I got lessons from Dennis Pugh when I turned pro. He was kind enough to take me on as such, if you want to say that. My mum actually contacted him, so well done to my mum. I said, "How did you get Dennis?" She went, "I've got a lesson with Dennis Pugh." Because I was like, "What? I mean, you've got a lesson with Colin Montgomery's coach. So how have you done that?" I literally phoned his golf club and said, "Can I get a lesson with Dennis Pugh? My son's an aspiring pro. He's just turned pro." And at that time, he was taking on young pros, as well as his tour pros. So he doesn't do that anymore, but he was quite good at helping us out with that, and it was brilliant. But what I learned from him was, you've got to try and ideally get a shot in play. Try and get a shot that you can go back to. Take one side of the golf course out of play almost. So whether you hit a big draw, you get rid of that big push over to the right, or if you slightly fade the ball or slightly slice the ball, I guess, you get rid of the big pull left. Because if you're aiming left, you don't want to hit it left, and if you're aiming right to draw the ball, you don't want to hit it right. So that's one big influence for me. Second influence is Butch Harmon, who I've never met, but I'd love to hopefully one day. But just listening to his podcasts, with Iona Stephen, that was an amazing one. I don't know if you heard that one.
Yeah, I listened to that. It's brilliant.
Uh,
Absolutely brilliant.
he was just a legend. And again, this is what I said earlier about working with what they've got. That's what I learned from him. I got the gist of it, that he always works. So if you and I turned up to him, he would know we've got a tendency, like whether yours is hitting up on the ball a little bit, mine's picking the club up, which is what I do, and don't rotate properly. He'll try and work around that, but he won't change our natural swing. He's not going to try and make me become like a Matt Kuchar and really flat and stuff, because it's just not going to feel right to me, and my natural movement's not doing that. So working with what you've got, and also using your eyes. So he talks about using your eyes, because all coaches, he said there's some coaches he's seen that are just literally looking at their launch monitor or iPad as they're giving a lesson. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to say anything against anyone, but I don't know anyone that does that personally. but he's seen that in America, right? So especially younger coaches, I would say it's probably more of a younger kind of guy thing or girl thing where, younger people will be focused on technology a little bit. So he's from that generation where he didn't have launch monitors initially. So he's got a very trained eye. He says he's very good at checking his eye. And initially I didn't have a launch monitor as an assistant, so just used my eyes initially, and then got some video analysis software after that. So I think it's important for young coaches especially to learn, try doing a lesson without any technology at all. No iPad, no slowing the swing down. Even if you're just teaching your mate, try and find positions, get your eye trained to see positions quickly, rather than always relying on slow-mo technology or analysis of like how far in to out is their swing path, because the in to out swing path might actually be helping that person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know from my personal swing is I look like to the eye I come slightly over to the top, but it's only at the top that I do it, and then I come still from
Yeah.
out to still. So I know that I just don't need to change that part, but it's down near the ball. It's where I kind of need to change a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's just tweaks. That's the thing about golf. It's a game of millimeters half the time as well.
Yeah,
It's
and you don't need to overdo it. Like some people just have a tendency of being flat or being upright or having a closed up face, but then they straighten it up. So you need to work with that. If they're a straight ball striker or hit the ball quite straight, you're not going to change their swing. To be honest, you go right. Oh, you hit it well now. We've got you hitting it well. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and also just on that as well, actually, you mentioned about people putting too much into their numbers and everything. I think it's possibly they see all the tour pros and they see everyone's got a TrackMan or a GC quad, and they're like, well, I need to know everything about my swing. I need to know everything about what the ball's doing. I need to spin rate. When all you need to see is your ball flight, your divot and your ball flight can tell you everything that you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important just to, as you said, just take technology away from everything for a moment and just look at what you're doing.
Yeah. You look at the ball flight. The ball flight never lies. I love that saying. The ball flight never lies. No matter what the TrackMan says or whatever it says, is if it's out to win by 8 degrees and it's whatever, but if the ball's got a nice little fade on it, it doesn't matter. It's a good ball flight. It doesn't have to be 0 to 0 or -1 to -1 or +1. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Michael. We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and now I've got to go to the drone range and try everything that you've said.
Absolutely. Yeah, not all of it at once, though, remember? One at a time.
Exactly.
No.
Oh, yeah. But thank you so much for coming on.
No, pleasure, and good luck with your game, and hopefully see you up in Scotland soon.
Absolutely, we'll be up there.